And we're live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode, I guess, since we're virtual, of 1 Million Cups. My name is Caleb Talley. I am the Director of Marketing for Startup Junkie, and very pleased to have all of you with us for another installment of our virtual 1 Million Cups. For those of you who are new to 1 Million Cups, it is a product of the Kauffman Foundation, with the goal of bringing the community together over 1 million cups of coffee. The premise is that the problems entrepreneurs face and problems in our community can be solved over 1 million cups of coffee and having those conversations. So I hope everybody has their coffee. Mine's a little different today. But I hope everybody's ready for another great presentation. Today we're joined by Lucas with Culture Hustlers. Can't speak this morning. Culture Hustlers is a business school for creators, made by creators. They're in 30 states in 5 countries. Lucas is currently in Austin. I think you said you're a native of Tulsa, or you live in Tulsa, but you're in Austin today. You're traveling the country, and so grateful to have you here with us today. I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you kindly. Thanks, everyone, for joining. I'm going to give you a presentation today. Once again, my name is Lucas. Am I a native Tulsan? Not quite. I was actually born in Minnesota and raised in Alaska, Wisconsin, South Carolina, and Georgia. I spent most of my life as a resident of Massachusetts and Washington State. So I'm from all over. And what I want to talk to you about today is Culture Hustlers, which I'm the founder of. And it is a business school for creators, specifically made by creators. And I'll talk more about that and why it's better. So I'm going to go ahead and present to y'all. I want to show you a quick video first, which I think really summarizes who I am. And this video is going to be a little bit faint on your end, so go ahead and turn up the volume on your end. I won't talk till the end and explode your speakers, so go ahead and crank your volume now.
It's happening all over America. In every state, every city, in every basement, on every corner, there's a new generation. Artists,
performers, designers,
writers,
makers. We're the children of the media revolution. We took student loans for jobs that wouldn't even exist. Each of us has to find our own way.
To become an artist is to choose to be a misfit and a hustler, to do something ambitious every day until you die. But every artist has a past and a story that can inspire millions. My name is Lucas, and I'm traveling to every state in America to tell you the true stories of the next generation of American artists.
All right. So when I was graduating high school, my parents gave me this map. And since then, I've been to all 50 states. It's taken me a long time. My parents didn't have any money to send me to college, but they did have the money to give me an air mattress, a tent, and this map. And what I did is I found a 1957 Shasta camper trailer that was full of bullet holes and beehives and broken windows. And I fixed it up and I installed solar panels and I created the mobile incubator. What is a mobile incubator? Well, you're probably very familiar with a business incubator, but a mobile incubator is something that can dispatch all over the planet. And inside is a recording studio where we can record conversations with entrepreneurs, specifically cultural entrepreneurs, folks who are artists, designers, performers, writers, and makers. I've interviewed everyone from a Project Runway winner, like Aaron Robertson here, all the way to an art prize winner, like Leandro Lesueur. And the idea was that we can ask questions about art and money together. We don't need to think of these as separate things. So what do you wish they would have taught you in art school? Should artists starve, or is there another way? And once we've asked all these questions, we created different videos and podcasts and photo essays that tell the story of how an artist makes a living.
See it both ways, like, what are you doing? You're wasting your life, or you see it as the big leagues are right there and I'm this far away from it. My name is Blake McFarland. I'm from San Jose, California. I'm a mixed materials artist who specializes in recycled tires and also a retired professional baseball player. You know, going in, I knew I had to prove myself. 3 games into spring training, just off the shoulder. I don't think anything of it, throwing in it. Next day, pick up baseball. That's when I've contemplated, can art be a full-time thing? So there's no time for a side hustle. Right now, this is a full-time job, so I have to put, you know, food on the table. So I'm going to try and sell as much as I can, because there's always going to be people that doubt you or that don't get it. And however it gets sold, great. That just means you're one step closer to becoming a better artist.
So Blake, Leandra, Aaron, these are all examples of folks who have a full-time self-employed work as an artist, a designer, performer, writer, maker. And what we've done is we've taken all of their stories and we plugged them into the different parts of a business model. So this is our creative business model. It's all the parts that you as an entrepreneur are familiar with, but it has been translated into what it's like in the creative and cultural industries. So your bio is your identity. Your vision and values is the same. Obviously, your target market is your audience. You've got competitors. Your value proposition, that's just essentially what you create. And then, of course, you have your pitch, your channels. Asking is your sales, your assets and allies, that's your squad. Time management is operations, cost structure, and then, of course, customer relationship management. So this has all been plugged into the creative business model, each one of these stories. And you're probably wondering, who the hell would be interested in that? Well, honestly, we do projects with every school around the country, whether they're a school of entrepreneurship, a university like Harvard, a technical institute like MIT, or even art and design incubators within other universities. But let's not stop there. So I told you that I built a mobile incubator out of a camper trailer. Well, the truth is we actually have a fleet of them now. There is this one on the East Coast, and we have another one on the West Coast. And then we also have one in Middle America that's actually a former Canadian military ambulance. So now we have a whole squad of these, and we have a fleet, and we can go around the country and capture all these different stories of how artists really can make a living while making art. And we've popped up these at different festivals like Art Basel or Art Prize. We have collaborated with different service organizations like Arts and Business Council or different incubators like Generator. And we also work with city governments. So maybe we'll install like a city plaza in Seattle or Boston. But the other thing that we really needed to do was we needed to make sure that everyone had access to this map of stories of folks who have a full income in art and culture. So we started doing these pop-up exhibitions where we would take the work of the artist and we would take the silhouette of the state that they're coming from, and we could have conversations about these. Here's a metalworking duo in Detroit. And here's an artist in Chicago who sells pranks. And we would pair each of these exhibits with our podcasts and our videos, as well as workshops and webinars so that people can learn directly from these folks who have a full-time job in art and culture. So we've done these exhibits with Artist Inc., Boston Center for the Arts, Ringling College of Art and Design. And now you're probably wondering, well, how can I get my city involved? How can I put my city on the map? And there's 2 ways that you can do that. If you have an organization or a business, you can sponsor one of 2 things. You can sponsor the mobile incubator to come to your city. And here's all the different case studies, the different podcasts and documentaries that we've released from across America. So if you want your city on this map or you want to tell a news story about your city, talk to us. and we'd be happy to work out a sponsorship so we can bring Mobile Incubator there. Also, during Corona times, we are doing podcasts and documentaries without the Mobile Incubator there. So we just released our newest episode, which interviewed artists in Toronto, and we did all that live stream. So that newest documentary is out as of yesterday, and it was all digital. So we can do a digital sponsorship if you don't have the ability to have people talking into the same microphone right now during Corona times. The other way to get involved is you can sponsor an exhibit, and you saw those examples of the exhibitions. And so we've done those across the US. We really want to populate this entire map to make sure that we're not missing anybody. And then the other part is, if you are interested in learning entrepreneurship from the perspective of a creator, you can enroll in our cohort. So I got to travel the US. That was my way of learning. And so I've wanted to make sure that everyone had access to all these stories. So now we have a cohort. And this cohort is 70 creators in 30 states in 5 countries, all the way from Ecuador to Kuwait to the US and Canada and Europe. And you can join this cohort. We have an application that is due August 3rd. And if you're in the cohort, you have access to our support groups, one-on-one coaching. We have 12 workbooks. We have webinars. And of course, we have all the documentaries and the podcasts, along with a lesson plan that pairs up with each one of them. So that's it. That's Culture Hustlers in a nutshell. I am glad the presentation is done because I just want to talk to people. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my presentation and go head over into the chat area.
Well, thank you for that, Lucas. We really appreciate that awesome presentation. While we wait for some questions to come in, because the live stream is just a couple of seconds behind the actual us talking right now, I just want to ask you, how have you seen in this time of COVID, how have you seen your artist community impacted
Oh my God.
by everything going on?
Well, that is actually what the documentary released yesterday is about. So like I was literally recording the narration for it over the last 72 hours. So I'm ready to answer this question. Basically everyone, there was not a single person who was not impacted by it. And it depended on the industry that you find yourself in. So if you were a visual artist, well, the museums and the galleries closed. If you were a musician, all the venues closed. If you were a comedian, all the venues closed. If you were a teacher, your classrooms were closed. If you were a foodie or a food entrepreneur, all the restaurants closed, or you had to pivot no matter what. And now folks who needed a live audience, they pivoted to live stream. And that's what our latest documentary is about. If you were a restaurant, you had to pivot to takeout. You had to like spray paint a drive-through line, like in your parking lot. If you were a visual artist, you had to go to an online exhibition. There was incredible online galleries that popped up that were doing virtual tours. So everyone pivoted as fast as they could. Some of them got left behind. But I will say it's not all bad news. Some people got new income and new audiences because of COVID, and they had to actually rethink their entire business model. And in the course of doing that, they realized their old business model was eventually going to fail anyway. And COVID was really just a wake-up call to actually build something that was more innovative than what they had before. I see actually a comment down here from Brian. It says, what is one of the most interesting artist stories you've heard? I would say, I'm thinking of all the stories in our latest podcast. And I think here's something I think is pretty interesting. So Bethany Onward, she is one of the students in our cohort in Minneapolis. And she is a healer, so she works specifically with Reiki, shamanic healing. She creates her own like Scientologies and stuff like that. And she actually contracted COVID. And so her job is to physically lay her hands upon people, right? And work with them. You can't touch people if you got COVID. You can't even touch people if you don't have COVID right now. So her occupation was out the window. And the irony here is that she's a healer. But what do you do if the healer herself is sick? So she lost all her income, obviously. And what she did is she pivoted, and she said, well, some of my income is from physical products, like selling like oils and selling like potions that she creates, right? As well as some metallurgy that she does. So she was able to keep that physical product side going, but the entire service side, which was the bulk of her income, was gone. But she put the word out there. She told her story. Every day she would post a photo of herself, wearing a mask with her hospital bracelet, all that. And what happened is people said, can I buy your services in advance so that when this quarantine is over, then I can come to you for services. So she was able to sell gift certificates for her services, which made up for the lost income. So everyone had to pivot, even if you had COVID, and a lot of what you had to do was storytelling, right? So that's an example of someone who took storytelling and made it work for their business. Rachel says, such a unique concept. What inspired you to start this business? I get this question a lot. Actually, I'll tell you the most common questions I get. The first common question I get is, do you live in your camper trailer? And the answer is no. But the irony here is I actually rented out this camper trailer in Austin for the week because I find them to be inspiring places to get work done. But that I do get is like, why are you doing this? Like, what inspired you to do this? So thank you for that question, Rachel. You know, for me, I'll tell you my origin story. I was in high school and I was so frustrated with the way that they taught creative people. And what I was learning at that moment about myself is that I really didn't feel like creators got a decent education. I really felt like they were told what the rules were. They were told what the history was. They were told all the tradition and the vocabulary. But all that stuff is memorization of things that have already happened. What I was dreaming of back then was, what about an education where you create something, where you're not learning rote information and trivia? And I was so frustrated about it. My mother said, well, why don't you become a teacher and change it? And so that is really what inspired me to do this. Is my mom is kind of a tough love lady and said, you don't get to just complain about things. You have to make a difference. And that is what creators do. So I had to figure out a way to combine travel with teaching. I had to somehow take my BFA in art and art history and combine it with my MBA in finance. And that took a lot of conversations with myself. But I think that when you talk about like a unique origin story for a founder or for a company, it often comes from some kind of disconnect, like something that has to be woven together that didn't seem to belong together. If you've got an origin story that makes sense 5 years down the road, chances are when the company was started, it probably didn't make sense. But you had to make sense of it. And you find that you're uniquely suited to do something truly new and truly innovative. I hope that answers your question, Rachel. I think it was really just a badass mother and a lot of travel that inspired me. Let's see, we've got another question from Robert. Robert says, good morning from Bentonville. Robert, good morning from Bentonville. I was in Bentonville a week ago. So thank you for the fish and chips. I went to, what's it called? Like the Flying Fish or something like that. Mm-hmm. So that was great. Robert says, Lucas, do you plan or have you used your mobile units during COVID? Seems like it would be something people would go to as part of being able to get out and do something different, but for smaller amounts of time. Thank you for bringing this up. We shuttered and postponed all of our mobile incubator projects for two reasons. One, mobile incubator is the worst possible branding for anything during like a pandemic. Like mobile incubator just sounds like you literally are the problem, like you are COVID. So branding that worked really well last year, but not this year. So that's for one reason. The second one just being, like we didn't want to take people in an enclosed space and have them share a microphone. It's just a really bad idea. So we postponed a project in Detroit, a project in Houston, and a project in Fayetteville. That project in Fayetteville will be kicking off in September. So we are bringing the mobile incubator back. And it will be in Bentonville. It'll be at the University of Arkansas. I'm very excited for that project. Definitely go to culturehustlers.com and get on our email list, and then you'll get an update on that, or just follow us on social. Yeah, I think that it is okay to meet in small groups. I'm not a doctor, but I think it's a matter of proportion. And so, to have a small invite-only private group come and share their stories, I think we're about there now, and we'll definitely be there in September, I hope. You'll obviously hear from us if we postpone that project again.
What's the target date in September?
Let me check Let me check my calendar here. One moment, because I think that, you know what? I think that we're still deciding on that date as I look here. Yeah, we're looking at 2 weekends still. So
Awesome.
It'll be in September. That's all I can say. And
Awesome.
you'll just have to
Good
follow
month
us.
It's a good call to action.
Morgan asks, what are some art forms that you've seen or showcased that are beyond our traditional perception of art? You've talked about healing, pranks, any more art forms like these? This is a great question. Thank you, Morgan. If I can get on my soapbox for a minute, if you are an artist of any kind or creative person of any kind, I'm about to crush your ego, so just be prepared for that. There's literally nothing new about painting. There's nothing new about poetry. There's nothing even new about film. Making a poem or a painting, you're not being creative. That's not new. I could write a poem right now, but that's been done for thousands of years. Paintings have been done for thousands of years. Writing, there's singing. There's nothing new about any of those things. So when we talk about art, we're most often talking about doing something that is truly new, truly creative, that hadn't been done before. And so when we talk about traditional perceptions of art, we're already in the quagmire. And one of the things that we talk about in Culture Hustlers in our cohorts is really pushing our technical skills into a place that it's never been brought before. So if you are going to, I think, our traditional thinking around art is like painting and poetry. Could you make a poem about something that's never had a poem written about it? Could you do it for an audience that's never had access to that? Could you do it in a tone that nobody's taken before? So it's not about just your media, right? We sometimes get obsessed with the media, but it's about doing something with it that's never been done before. And suddenly, it takes these other forms like healing or pranks or, activism. But really, we're just taking a traditional art media format and applying it to something new. And that is what creativity is. So that's what we really push, it's not just what you create, but can you get creative with how you get it out there? Can you be more creative with the impact that it makes in people? Much in the school. Let's see. IG Ocean says, hi from Fayetteville. Do you collaborate with places like Crystal Bridges on any of your projects? Hey, I would love to come to Crystal Bridges. If you or anybody from the Walton family is listening, bring me. I'll be in Fayetteville. I was actually pitching a project for that, but then COVID happened. So it was some kind of festival in that area. But no, Crystal Bridges is perfect. Any kind of exhibition space or anything with plaza. Obviously, we're able to do exhibitions. We're also able to do these pop-up projects in like public spaces. So we kind of have something for both. And Crystal Bridges is an example of a place that has both physical exhibition space as well as outdoor space. So anything like that is perfect. Robert says, seems like a good fit for the Momentary. I don't know what the Momentary is. Wait, is that? Oh, I saw that downtown in Bentonville, right?
It's a new.
What is the Momentary?
It's and somebody could probably describe this way better than I could, but it's a new art space that's related to Crystal Bridges and an old craft cheese factory. So there's all sorts of forms of art throughout that old that manufacturing plant space.
I would just like to come for the cheese, actually.
Yeah. You probably don't want to. If there's still cheese there, you probably don't want it.
I don't know. It's probably very well aged right
now. So tell me a little bit about just kind of like how you balance the two. So you've got your kind of like almost like a school, your cohorts, and then kind of like a multimedia aspect. Like what
Correct.
Percentage is Culture Hustlers of each?
Well, very astute for you to notice that, because we are both. We are an educational media company, right? We produce documentaries, podcasts, photo essays, right? And those are used in schools as like educational material. But at the same side of it, we are also a school in and of itself, right? But we're not your typical school, and we're not your typical online school either. So our cohort is extremely interactive and it's collaborative. So those podcasts and documentaries that you see, they're actually made by the students in the school. So they can work down their tuition. By the way, tuition is $2,400 for the year, and that includes a whole bunch of things. But if you can't afford that, you can work down your tuition by doing work study. So for example, all the videos that you saw were done by work study students. We have work study students who edit the podcast, who do copy editing on our workbooks, do animation and contribute illustrations, who edit photographs. So essentially we can put you to work because we're a school full of creators. So you let me know. But I personally balance all. I don't know, if I'm assuming most of the audience for this is entrepreneurs, so if you have like a double tail business model, or you have two parts of your business that seem to like push and pull on each other, it's always a constant negotiation. But the good news is, if you have kind of parts of your business that require a balance, just know that that's a challenge that other entrepreneurs aren't willing to take. And so if you can creatively find a way to have like two income streams in your business that actually feed into each other, you have a competitive advantage. So don't give up just because two things seem to push and pull you. You can get better, each quarter, each year at resolving those things, and even in making them improve each other, which is what Culture Hustlers does. Media company and a school, obviously those two things can combine, and we get better and better at it each year. So don't give up if you feel that push and pull in your life. That might be actually like your value proposition as a business, is that you're combining two things that other people weren't willing to figure out.
Awesome. Well, I will give just another second to see if anybody has any more questions in the comments. If not, Lucas, on behalf of 1 Million Cups, we really appreciate you. And one of the last questions we always ask of our presenters is, what can we as a community do to help you?
Sure. And that actually goes hand in hand with this last question from Rachel, which is how do we create income from this? So help me create income from this, obviously. So we have three revenue streams essentially for our company. One is tuition from the cohorts. The other one is sponsorships for the mobile incubator. And the third is sponsorships for these exhibitions, these pop-up places. So right now, I would really be pushing, we have an online school where you can learn entrepreneurship from creators. It's a totally different way of learning, right? I call it the Harvard Business Review, but cooler. And so if you're interested in that, definitely check that out. The application is due August 3rd. And we are looking for about 25 people to join the full Hustler cohort. And then we also have a side Hustler cohort that's $50 a month. And that just gives you access to the community as well as all the case studies. So if that interests you, go ahead and check that out. And then the other way to get involved is if you run an organization or know someone who runs an organization that would be interested in doing one of these projects, like having your constituency be recorded and have a podcast and a documentary made about them, then hit me up. And we would love to come to town with a mobile incubator, or we can figure it out digitally. And then the dream is not only to put that out as a documentary and a podcast, but also travel that around the US as an exhibition. So we can literally put your organization, your people, your city on the map as an example for other communities to learn from. So all that information is at culturehustlers.com. And definitely check out our new documentary that just got released yesterday.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, Lucas, I appreciate it so much. Your time and your story, your presentation. You're welcome back anytime. I look forward to seeing you in person in your mobile unit.
Yeah, I'll swing through.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.